What's up, family? So apparently Andrea Molly has been caught backpedaling on First Take, and we've been waiting for Andrea to get back on here talking about what's been happening in the WNBA. So this is going to be an exciting one, man. But before we get into it, make sure you hit that thumbs up for your boy. And also, if you like the comment, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, baby. But a quick disclosure, I will not be able to show First Take because First Take is on ESPN, and I don't want the copyright issue. So you will see a photo of Caitlin Clark, and we will hear the audio of the video as I give my perspective, thoughts, and insight, and ask you guys your perspective, thoughts, and insights down in the comments. Let's go, baby.
To greatness, and that's why we're looking at her and we're saying greatness is on the way.
Stephen A., I would be remiss if I didn't say this. A lot of this noise came by people that were sitting on this network. They tried to minimize her, said, well, you giving her all this credit. What about the women that came before her? What the women came before her, what they did cannot be taken away. That ain't got nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. But there was a lot of people tried to make sure they keep Caitlin Clark in her place because what you're doing, if you give her all this shine, you minimize what they done. You can't minimize what Maya Moore or Candace Parker or Lisa Leslie or Lauren Jackson or Diana Taurasi or Simone Augustus or any of the other great players. That Caitlin Clark, what she's doing doesn't minimize what they've done, but we should have been giving her the credit. We saw the ratings, we saw the merchandise sales, we saw the attendance, but y'all want to make it about something else. Oh, what about the women that laid the foundation? What about this? What about it? That ain't got nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is box office. She's doing this. And instead of giving her credit, y'all tried to make it about, oh, y'all poo-pooing the old guard. Y'all never talked about the old guard like this. Nah, I ain't gonna let it slide. Caitlin Clark, unanimous rookie of the year.
Well, he said,
even more
hold on, he said poo-pooing the old guard.
She's doing this. And instead of giving her credit, y'all tried to make it about, oh, y'all poo-pooing the old guard. Y'all never talked about the old guard like this. Nah, I ain't gonna let it slide. Caitlin Clark, unanimous rookie of the year. But what's even more impressive, she's first team WNBA. First.
You know, Shannon, I hear you, right? I hear you 100%. But another level of noise was coming from people. You were one of them who also tried to create a picture around Caitlin that the league was against her based on the actions of less than 5 former players or current.
Hold up. See, before we get past what Andreas just said, it was way more than 5 people, man. It was way more than 5 people. You had at least 5 to 6 former players, over 5 or 6 current players. You got coaches, you got CEOs, like owners. Like, didn't you have the USA committee? What are you talking about, Andrea? Come on now, I can't. You got to cut it out. I ain't letting you slide with that one, honey. I ain't letting you slide. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue.
Players, which also creates a lot of noise. Like we saw during the All-Star game, the league and the players in this league like Caitlin. They enjoy Caitlin. They had so much fun with Caitlin. So there was noise created from every single
was pointing the finger directly at you. Because I'll
no, not me.
I'll come to your defense about that. But let me also make this a point. You're not entirely accurate with what you just said. Because guess what? Whether it was Shannon, whether it was myself, we didn't paint a picture of the entire league. What we said was there was noise out there emanating from some. And those folks were very, very loud and conspicuous with their dissent towards things involving Caitlin Clark. When we pointed that out, we said why. What was the necessity for it? Because a rising tide lifts all boats. This woman is box office. Plus, she can play. And the combination of the two would ultimately give all of those wonderful ladies for the wonderful work that they had done over so many years. It would have been validated, even though it came through the conduit was her. Ultimately, it stood to benefit the collective whole. And rather than some out there accepting and embracing that, they resented it, and they tried to use the contributions of others who came before Caitlin Clark to justify their vitriol instead of owning the fact that what really was their objective and what really was their agenda is that they resented the fact that this young lady who came into the league,
Preach.
took it by storm, and drew in a level of attention that they weren't able to endure. They weren't able to
Preach.
draw.
Yeah.
That was the reality.
One thing.
All right, family. Hey, look, man. Stephen A. says some crazy things from time to time. I understand that, but he just flat out cooked. He flat out cooked, man. Look, man, he said nothing but the truth. The women were trying to use that, you are doing too much, and I don't want to throw her out there. But Aja Wilson was one of them, saying, I'm not going to allow you to come into this league. We gonna enjoy your new fans. We enjoy that you bring in the new fans, but I'm not gonna allow you to come in this league and disrespect the ones that came before me. If somebody wanted to say Allen Iverson is the best player ever, for example, nobody compares to him. They are allowed to say that. You see what I'm saying? So if someone wanted to say John Stockton was the best point guard to ever live, they're allowed to say that as fans. The word fan is short for fanatic, and fanatic can say whatever they want about the person they are a fan of. You see what I'm saying? So why are they trying to discredit Caitlin Clark, family? Comment down below in the comments below. Why are they trying to discredit Caitlin Clark? Because fans are coming in and saying she's the best thing to ever happen for the WNBA. You can't say that's being disrespectful to the league. That's what they believe. So Stephen A. Smith straight up cooked there. Stephen A. got it. I mean, I don't know what Molly going to say in return, but it's over. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue.
One thing I want to say before we go to break, really quick, Dre, I think one of the impetuses, especially for this conversation, was obviously her not getting an Olympic roster spot, right? Remember, we had a big debate over that. Was she deserving of it? Was it more the marketing, the hype? And here's what I'll say, and I know, Andrea, that you agree. At that point, some of us felt like maybe she hadn't proved it in the WNBA, but at this point, she certainly has. So she proved everybody wrong.
What about the guards? Let's talk about the guards that didn't make it. Talk about the guards that did make it. How they play, Andrea? Because you were one of the ones that say she didn't earn it. How did the guards play that within the Olympics? How did they play?
For sure, but we can't take how Caitlin finished the W season and pivot that to how she would have done in the Olympics. That's a completely different
All I'm
argument.
saying is look at that point. Look at how she played up until that point. Chelsea Gray had only played one game before she went to the Olympics.
Right.
She was out playing Diana Taurasi. Was she outplaying Diana Taurasi at that point in time that she was on the team? It's a simple yes or a simple no.
Was Caitlin outplaying Diana Taurasi? But you can't just factor in current play, Shannon. That's all I'm saying. You got to factor in. Well, if you're factoring in Diana Taurasi's Olympic experience, Diana Taurasi's how she was with the team.
Shannon, hold on one second.
This ain't a lifetime, this wasn't an Olympic lifetime achievement.
Shannon Sharpe, hold on one second. What we're saying is you guys were right. That's what we're saying. You
no,
were right.
Molly, you did not say that, Molly. No,
I'm saying
no,
that is what you said.
That's not what you said, Molly.
What are you guys
That is not what you said.
I literally just brought it up.
You were talking about you were talking about folks making the point that, at the time that they had picked the Olympic team, Caitlin Clark didn't necessarily deserve it based on her play on the court. When the point that Shannon and I was making at the time was that, wait a minute, in the end, there are people that have ended up on Team USA for reasons other than just their elite play at that particular moment in time.
She was a marketing whiz. Right.
And she was a
right, because she is a marketing whiz, and she did it on the court.
Man, Molly does this every time. She does this every time. She start playing like, oh, I didn't say that. I didn't do that. Molly is slick, man. Before I get into talking about Molly and Andrea, I do like the show, okay? I like both of them. I like the show. But Molly is a trip, man. Y'all were one of the main ones saying she didn't deserve to be on the roster, right? And then you skipped over to what Shannon said. What Shannon said, what about the play? You know what I'm saying? And what about she did the right thing? Was she right? What about what she did right then and there? She was out playing Chelsea, right? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what Shannon was. They were saying like, look, she was out playing Chelsea, right? And Diana, she was out playing both of them. The only reason I start bringing up marketing is because you are, the ones that were the naysayers of her being on the USA team. They were all saying she wasn't good enough at the time. And then you all were saying she wasn't performing as good as some other guards, right? When she really was. And the main two I keep bringing up was Diana Taurasi and Chelsea Gray, right? Now you're saying, oh, it's not about current play. Then I say, okay, well, marketing. And everybody's like, oh, I say it's marketing, right? And then people would be like, oh, it's not about marketing. It's not about none of that. But then they'll turn around and say, oh, yeah, politics go with choosing a player sometimes. Like, what? Look, why do the goalposts keep moving here? You guys see it with Molly and Andrea and Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. is trying to make a point. Why do the goalposts keep moving here, man? What you wanted to do? Marketing? You wanted to do marketing? Do you want her performing on the court? Which one you want? Because she giving you both of them. She gave you both of them, but you keep moving the goalposts saying, this is the reason she didn't make it. This is the reason she didn't make it. Which one is it? Y'all got to stop this, man.
That's what I'm
we were saying, no,
right.
Molly.
So you were ahead of the curve.
You're not listening, Molly. You're not listening. I'm talking about your point, Molly. Your point.
And I'm explaining it to you.
At the end of the day, we were making the point. Do you want?
You sound like a little baby. And I'm explaining it to you. Run that back, fam. I can't.
I'm talking about your point, Molly. Your point.
And I'm explaining it to you.
At the end of the day, we were making the point. Do you want to promote the league or not? And people like Andrea and others were resistant to that playing a role in somebody making the roster for Team USA. And we were saying, hell with that. You want to promote the sport. You put that girl up in there. And people were appalled at that notion. That was the subject.
But Stephen A., this is just going to come from different perspectives because you all's initial point was a marketing point, and that was what I was arguing with. That was what I was arguing with,
right.
The marketing point for Caitlyn. What Molly is trying to say, and what I agree with, is now that we have seen how Caitlyn finished this season, there is a good basketball argument for her being on the team, for her making the team. There is now a great basketball argument. But listen, no, Shannon, listen. How she's playing right now, you just said it 5 minutes ago, was a testament to the rest that she had and the break that she had. We don't know how she would have played without that break. So we're saying Caitlyn has now proven herself basketball-wise, but you all weren't making a basketball argument. You weren't making a basketball argument.
I agree that the break was good for Caitlyn Clark. But what you're not going to do is sit here and say she wasn't playing good enough to be on that team midway or before the Olympics. She had the stats to prove that she was playing better. I think her stats was even better than Sabrina's at the time, if I'm not mistaken. And she had better stats than Diana, Chelsea, and Sabrina. And if it wasn't better than Sabrina, it was damn near like neck and neck. So you telling me she wasn't good enough or wasn't performing good enough to be on that team? Stop it, man. Stop it. Stop it. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue, man.
We're not saying we were making the basketball
No, Andrea, I'm not going to let you do that.
Go ahead,
Andrea, I'm not going to let you make it seem like Caitlyn Clark was averaging 5 points a game. At the time, she was still averaging 16 points a game, which was more than a lot of other guards that made the team. So don't do that. Don't make it seem like she was averaging 5 points and this was like a handout.
No, it wasn't a handout.
Look at her numbers. Look at her numbers comparable to the other guards that were on the team. That's all I'm saying.
No. I hear you, but when I talked to members of the Olympic Committee, the questions were of fatigue, of rest, and of the physicality and FIBA rules, and of lack of continuity with Team USA, which were things that she did not have. I'm not disputing Caitlyn's greatness on the court. That's not what I'm disputing at all. Like, I don't understand what you're talking about. I'm not disputing her.
We got to go to commercial. Let's come back.
There were other factors
Let's come back. Hold on. We got to go. No. We got to go to commercial. Shay, come back. Let's come back. Let's go to commercial.
Go ahead.
Man, oh man. As y'all can see it, man, it got a little bit heated, or a lot of bit heated. Shannon was ready to cook. He wasn't about to let Andrea get away with that nonsense because it was pure nonsense, man. Pure nonsense. There's no way you're going to sit here and say it was less than 5 people that was hating on Caitlyn Clark. Really? Less than 5? I wouldn't mind if Andrea would just have said she was wrong, took accountability, what Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. was holding them accountable for. You got to give them that. I wouldn't mind if Andrea was like, we were wrong about Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn could have been on the USA team for sure. But I do believe the break helped her a lot to get the performance that she needed in the second half to push towards the playoffs. Boom. That's all she had to say, man. But look, man, let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section. Peace. On that note, family.